Special ASLELS challenge for you, Floyd. If you can read one full page of a Harry Potter book, nigga, I'll give $750,000 to whatever charitable organization you want to. The bucket of ice, man.
Throughout hip-hop history, there have always been certain figures you never want problems with because once they lock in on you, it's personal, loud, and ruthless. While most rappers keep beef contained to songs or quiet backroom deals, a few thrive on public humiliation and seem to enjoy watching their rivals spiral in real time. Everyone already knows 50 Cent is that guy. He didn't just clash with Ja Rule, he straight up erased his momentum at its peak, turning getting Ja Ruled into slang for career-ending lyrical destruction.
It was all a situation or a beef with somebody that I can't stand this nigga. You understand what I'm saying? Like, it's not this ain't WWL. It's not like I just got rap beef with this nigga. I don't like this little nigga.
50 has never cared who's on the other side either. He's gone so far as to publicly clash with his own son during family drama, throwing harsh words and cutting off support without blinking.
All right? I had to rebuild my life over $6,700 a month.
He's been trained to believe what you seen him say in that interview when I said that he's entitled. Really, it's his mom's entitlement. It's been filtered.
Now, though, 50 appears to be delivering what many see as his final and boldest strike yet. His longest-running target, and possibly his most powerful one, is none other than Sean Combs, also known as Diddy or Puff Daddy. Once celebrated as one of America's most influential black business moguls, Diddy's image has taken a shocking nosedive over the past year, and 50 is watching it unfold with zero sympathy. And while many people have tried to break down the downfall of Diddy, from exposés to deep dive documentaries, nothing has hit quite like the recent 4-part Netflix series. There have been stories about lies, betrayals, reckless behavior, and wild excess floating around for years. But this project put everything under a microscope in a way that made people uncomfortable.
I'm a savage! Whatever I want, I'm going to get! Whatever I want, I have to get!
To reflect on the darkest times in your life, sometimes you gotta do that. I was f***ed up.
Executive produced by 50 Cent, the series titled Sean Combs, The Reckoning quickly became one of the most talked about releases online. And honestly, it's one of the strongest documentaries to drop in a while, especially with how it jumps back and forth through time while constantly circling back to the present chaos.
If Sean Combs watches this, what do you think he's gonna feel?
Like, wow, this is amazing. I think he's gonna say this is the best documentary I've seen in a long time.
But before getting into all that, it's important to rewind and look at where the tension between these two really started. From day one, 50 came into the industry swinging at everybody, including Sean Combs on his 1999 track How to Rob. By the early 2000s, 50 finally crossed paths with Diddy in person. And this is where things got interesting. 50 has claimed he was ghostwriting for Puff during that time, a claim that's been echoed by multiple industry voices, most notably Shine, a former Bad Boy artist. Shine later clashed with 50 himself, even accusing him of being an informant, but back then the roles were very different. 50 was still buzzing locally in New York, while Shine was firmly under Diddy's wing. And according to 50, he even wrote Puff's verse on a track called Let's Get It. He finally aired it out himself a couple years later on his Guess Who's Back mixtape, making it clear he wasn't hiding anything anymore. On the track Not Like Me, he rapped lines hinting that people already knew he was helping behind the scenes, straight up saying he was ghostwriting for Sean Combs, and that alone had the industry side-eyeing everybody involved.
Come to the tough guy and a hardcore rapping, you can't do that. Like, when I met him, he was writing raps for Diddy on Forever, right? And this is after he got poked up. This is after Gotti and them poked him up in the Hit Factory, and he ran to the cops, and he got an order of protection. And he was walking around with police. NYPD was holding him down. Swear to God. He was in Daddy's house, in the lounge, and he had security, and he ain't sold one record.
Later that same year, he took another slick shot at Puff on the Bad Boys 2 soundtrack, which is wild considering Diddy helped produce it. He rapped about running the city and made it clear he wasn't trying to move or act like Diddy at all, and that's when the tension started to feel a little less playful. Up until then, the back and forth still felt sarcastic and jokey, but that changed once 50 Cent said he started getting strange vibes from Diddy. 50 later shared a story about Diddy offering to take him shopping early in his career, something that immediately made him uncomfortable and raised red flags in his mind. By the mid-2000s, 50 was untouchable. He was a global superstar stacking #1 hits, locking in major endorsements, and collecting top 10 records at a pace few could match. On top of that, he showed a sharper business mindset than almost anyone in rap at the time, building his own label, launching fashion ventures, and securing serious ownership stakes. Watching everything back now, it's easy to see how Diddy may have felt some envy. Even with all his success, 50 had an aura, respect, and presence that stopped rooms cold. And that kind of energy is something money alone can't buy. By 2005, 50 Cent was officially a heavyweight in the game. He wasn't just dominating the charts, he was running business too, and artists both new and established were lining up, hoping to land a deal with his G-Unit camp. Around that time, 50 appeared on Howard Stern's show and dropped a major bombshell. He revealed that a potential deal with Matai completely fell apart after Sean Combs allegedly demanded a massive payout just to let Mafway walk away from Bad Boy. That moment made it clear the business side was getting messy fast.
He said something to me one time, a long time ago, at Chris Lighty's wedding. He told me he'd take me shopping. I looked at him like, what'd you just say? Let me move, man, before I do something. You're gonna make me mess up the wedding.
Oh, that's a nice gesture.
Let me get out of no, dude, take me. That's what a guy says to a girl.
After that, the tension exploded and the gloves came off. 50 went further than ever before, openly pointing fingers at Puff in connection to the death of the notorious B.I.G., a rumor that had quietly circulated in the industry for years. From that point on, 50 made it clear he wanted no part of the Diddy hype machine. Looking back now, it's wild how far ahead of the curve 50 seemed. While others were still chasing industry approval, he stayed distant, focused, and calculated, quietly crafting diss tracks and playing the long game. Their rivalry even spilled into the liquor world. Diddy pushed Ciroc, while 50 backed Iffy and vodka, constantly clowning Puff's brand and claiming his own was the superior blend. It wasn't just music anymore. It was a full-scale war across every lane imaginable. Now that we've gone through their long-running clashes over music, money, and those so-called shopping trips, it's time to get into the real reason 50 Cent has never let up on Sean Combs. And this part hits way closer to home. In the early 2000s, 50 was in a serious relationship with Daphne Joy, and the two share a child together. They dated for about 2 years, from 2011 to 2012, before splitting not long after their son was born. Their relationship was rocky, filled with public tension and legal disputes, though the most serious accusations were later dropped, and both eventually moved on. Fast forward nearly a decade later, and things got messy all over again. Around 2021, Daphne was spotted on luxury trips with Diddy, and that's when 50 flipped into full troll mode. He started posting about the situation online, brushing it off publicly and claiming there was no personal issue, just business. But then he doubled down. The following year, 50 posted again, this time dragging the situation into the spotlight in a way that had the internet buzzing nonstop. Even if he tried to laugh it off, anyone could see this wasn't just entertainment anymore. And here's the thing, by that point, 50 had already said he'd been suspicious of Diddy's behavior for decades. So even if he claimed it didn't bother him, it's hard to believe it didn't hit a nerve seeing his longtime rival involved with someone from his past. That alone explains why this feud stopped being playful and turned deeply personal. Things exploded even more once the so-called Diddy files surfaced last March, turning the entire situation up another level. Music producer Rodney Jones filed a major lawsuit against Sean Combs, accusing him of running serious misconduct behind the scenes. In those court documents, Daphne Joy was named among several women allegedly receiving monthly payments, claims that immediately sent shockwaves across the internet. It's important to be clear here. No one besides Diddy has been formally charged in connection with those claims, and many allegations are still disputed. As of now, legal outcomes have shifted, and while Diddy has faced consequences, much of the situation remains legally complex and heavily debated. Still, once those filings became public, 50 Cent went straight into attack mode. He took to social media, mocking the situation and unleashing ruthless commentary that made it clear he felt fully justified after years of warnings and suspicion. To him, this wasn't random drama, it was validation. As all of this played out publicly, 50 also escalated things legally. He filed for sole custody of their son, arguing that the environment around Daphne had become unsafe. Daphne fired back hard, denying all wrongdoing and calling the accusations completely false. And honestly, this moment explains everything. This wasn't just industry beef anymore. This was personal, emotional, and fueled by years of resentment. It also sheds light on why 50 was so invested in helping produce the explosive documentary that dragged Diddy's alleged behavior into the spotlight for the entire world to see. All of this helped push the darker details of Sean Combs' alleged narcissistic and backstabbing behavior into the open, where everyday people could finally see it for themselves. It wasn't just gossip anymore. It was names, timelines, and patterns laid out clearly for anyone paying attention. The documentary also gave a platform to voices that likely would have stayed silent otherwise. A lot of people weren't comfortable speaking up until 50 Cent put his name behind it, and that cosign made all the difference. Once that door cracked open, others felt safer stepping through. For years, most folks only heard jokes and rumors, surface-level chatter without context. What they didn't see was the alleged trail of power plays stretching back decades, the careers stalled, the alliances broken, and the people left behind without a second thought. The most disturbing part, according to many critics, is the claim that even his closest ally wasn't spared. Turning on rivals is one thing, but allegedly betraying your top artist and longtime friend hits differently in this industry. After helping stir the East Coast versus West Coast tension, he was later seen presenting a polished public image, all smiles and celebration, while critics say responsibility was quietly dodged. And when it came time for the funeral of the notorious B.I.G., allegations that the costs were pushed onto the estate only deepened the outrage. To many, that pattern screams one thing loud and clear: self-preservation first, image always, no matter the cost. 50 Cent also spent serious time connecting dots about how Sean Combs allegedly used relationships as leverage, turning romance into a power play rather than anything genuine. According to critics, it wasn't about love at all. It was about control, influence, and keeping people off balance. To many watching, Diddy comes across less like a mastermind and more like a textbook example of unchecked narcissism spiraling out of control. At one point in the documentary, he even compares himself to Jesus Christ, a moment that left viewers stunned and questioning just how detached from reality things had become. What makes it even wilder is that much of the footage was recorded by Diddy himself in the days leading up to his legal trouble. He reportedly believed he would walk away untouched and planned to release his own version of events as a victory lap. Instead, what he thought would be a comeback turned into a full-blown reckoning. Somehow, Netflix ended up with that footage, and the final result painted a deeply unsettling portrait that shocked even longtime fans. The 4-part series, Sean Combs' The Reckoning, does an intense job covering nearly 3 decades of rise, power, and controversy. And if there's one takeaway viewers keep repeating, it's this: 50 Cent is not someone anyone wants real problems with, because once he locks in, he never lets go. Once you end up on his bad side, it's clear you're living rent-free in his crosshairs for the long haul. No breaks, no mercy. That's just how 50 Cent moves when he feels crossed. Either way, I appreciate everyone who rocked with today's breakdown. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share this video if you found it interesting. Drop your thoughts on Sean Combs down in the comments and let me know where you stand. There's still a lot more industry drama to unpack, more rivalries, more stories, and more truth to dig into. Stay locked in, and I'll catch you in the next one.